The Roman poet Virgil, born Publius Virgilius Mario, was born in the Andes in the dying years of the Roman Republic, 70 BCE. He was a man who was not born of the noble patrician class in Rome, but a plebeian who grew up in the countryside of Italy. He was not a political figure, and never led or fought in any war. Rather, he devoted his life to the craft of poetry, beginning with the eclogues, the Georgics, finishing with his likely incomplete masterpiece, the Aeneid. As his work became more and more popular among the general populace of Rome, he became integrated into the circles of some of the most influential people in Rome. Eventually, he became the foremost poet in the court of Augustus Caesar, as well as the rest of Rome. Ancient author Aurelius Donatus describes the interaction between Augustus and Virgil. Quote, Virgil read the Georgics to Augustus for 4 days straight. His recitation was sweet and strangely seductive. End quote. Augustus became, for lack of a better word, a huge fan of Virgil and his writing. Having become a figure of some renown, he died in 19 BCE in southern Italy. Virgil's impact, although great in his lifetime, was far surpassed in his death. His writings quickly became the standard of Latin poetry and writing for centuries to come. Interestingly, the order that Virgil's writings began to impact history is in the opposite of the order they were written. The Aeneid had an impact on history much quicker than the eclogues, although long term the eclogues may have had a far greater impact. In order to understand why that was, there must be a basic understanding of these works. The Aeneid was written at the dawn of the Pax Romana, Roman peace, when Rome had just come out of nearly 100 years of brutal civil war. Augustus Caesar was ostensibly responsible for this situation, and as such, Virgil, who as mentioned had a good relationship with the emperor, wanted to write an epic to inaugurate the foundation of this new empire. To get a feel for the excitement around the creation of this work, Donatus quotes Sextus Properietus as saying, "Give way, Roman authors, give way, Greeks. Something greater than the Iliad is born, I know not what." Virgil was largely successful in this endeavor. The Aeneid quickly became recognized as one of the foundational works of the Roman Empire. However, Virgil's greatest impact was not seen until centuries after his death. If the ancient Romans took to his work, and they did, then the medieval period scholars lifted him to new heights. To see this, let's look at how the character Dante responds to seeing Virgil for the first time in the Inferno. Quote, "And are you then Virgil? You, the fountain that freely pours so rich a stream of speech?" I answer him with shame upon my brow. This is the typical response of the greatest men of the Middle Ages. This is because they saw the fourth eclogue as a kind of proto-Christian prophecy about Jesus Christ. The foundation of this view began relatively early in the Church, but really took off in the Middle Ages. This is how Ella Bourne puts Augustine's view of the matter. To St. Augustine, the reference in the eclogue is so clearly a prophecy of Christ that he argues from Virgil back to Sibylla. Whatever you make of it, the key point is that Virgil is among the greatest poets of all history, and will remain so until his work is forgotten. God forbid.